Aloha. Uh, First off, I wanted to apologize for the sound that's coming on in the background. There's going to be some like construction work or something like that, but I can't close the window, so it's too hot. But anyway, I wanted to do this video today and really kind of mirror together the space that we are in right now in reference to like a journey and information sharing and how it relates to the Wizard of Oz storyline. I mean, this is not the only connection that the Wizard of Oz has to modern society today. Everybody's gone, or a lot of people have gone into deciphering the Wizard of Oz, the perspective of the Tin Man and the corporations, and then the Scarecrow representing the farmers, and then the Cowardly Lion representing, you know, whatever it is, and Dorothy and Toto and all that other shit. I didn't really want to go into that. With this video, I wanted to deal specifically with the ending scene of the Wizard. So what does the Wizard of Oz represent? Because we can understand what Oz represents. We can understand, you know, like Toto and Dorothy and all the other characters are in there. But what exactly is the Wizard, and how does the Wizard affect the masses of people? That's the main thing. How is this working? Like, where are we at right now? Given the fact that we have all this information available to us, basically, for people who are asking the right questions, the veil has already been lifted. It's already been removed. So what's going to be the contingency plan for the system realizing that the veil is being removed? And now, like, what are the people going to do about that? Well, since you have the majority of people who are consistently just following the system and have this sort of Stockholm syndrome connected to their oppressor, the main thing that has to be done in order to keep the masses docile and to keep the masses from revolting and keep the masses from asking the right questions is to obviously keep them distracted, keep them emotional, and keep them begging or looking for the big brother, the sort of the new world order as a good thing or a positive thing. So this is why technology is sold to you. This is why technology is lumped in with transhumanism and simulation theory, which is the next perspective of reality. And that perspective of reality is going to go into activating this new religion. So this is why you have the New Age program connected with the United Nations through having channelers speak at the United Nations. You have Oprah Winfrey hooking up with people like Eckhart Tolle and Tony Robbins and pushing this whole Super Soul Sunday mentality of this is what's going on. So their superheroes are out there. Their concessions that they will give you are out there. And the people who are completely dumbed down to the utter criminal nature of this system, they will follow along with it, because just like the masses of people are being played with Democrats versus Republican, good versus bad, blue versus red, just as people are dumbed down to follow that storyline as if it is the only storyline that exists, people will be dumbed down the same way and follow the idea of a new world order, because they're going to make it dummy proof. As long as people are kept ignorant with the school system and the mainstream media and these Hollywood activists who are, you know, putting themselves out to be like superheroes or something, the storyline will continue to play to the dumbed down masses. So let me go plug this in real quick. Hold on 1 second, because I don't want to pause this. I have to plug in my laptop. Battery. Alright. So yeah, the masses are being played And the same old card is going to be played because that's the moneymaker. That's what wins people over, is to cater to their adolescent sort of mentality. So people aren't really, in a sense, grown right now. Like, we don't really have wisdom. We have information. There's no wisdom anymore. The same thing goes for these so-called adults. You don't have adults anymore. You have grown children. So these are mirror images of what's going on, and it's a manipulated thing. Look at your trending page. I was just looking at this Shane Dawson video where he was talking about the trending page, and he took it personal, like somebody is at YouTube headquarters that is making sure that all of the videos that deal with Shane Dawson are are hidden, but the ones where he does collaborations are put on the trending page. And they took this whole egotistical trending page sort of perspective and talking about, oh, it's all about the money. The money is everything, and the money is power and all this other stuff. The money isn't the power. The information is the power. And YouTube is one of the biggest power networks that are out there right now, which is why they need the trending page. And they need these shallow ass people who are going to take their shallow ass perspectives onto the trending page and tell you what they think is going on with the system. And the system needs these people to do that because the system no longer has any credibility. They need these half and misinformed ass YouTubers to mind control the masses, because the word of the government and the mainstream media, it has no value anymore. It holds no water. So they need these so-called realistic or real kind of people to deliver the same old information that they were selling in the mainstream media for however many decades or centuries you want to go. So YouTube is the new version of doing that. And Hollywood has always been one of the biggest versions out there. And The Wizard of Oz is one of the earliest versions of mind controlling people. But I just revisited the whole Oz scene, and I just wanted to share this with people because it matches perfectly with what I was saying about the how once the new so-called New World Order kicks on, which it already is, but once it goes, it's activated. Once it gets activated, which one can argue it's already activated. I'm just saying, once it starts to get like a label and saying like, oh yeah, this is the New World Order. Let's unify. Let's break down all the borders. There are no genders. There's no, let's empower women over men and not address any of the patriarchal programming. Let's not address any of the cancers from racism. Let's not address any of the colonial mental health conditions that exist out there. Like, racism is a mental health condition. All of these programs developed by the Western so-called civilization to maintain ignorance, that's a mental health issue. We are dealing with sick, parasitic people. People are filled with parasites when they're out there following this mentality. So I don't want to get too far off of track right now. I want to keep this video kind of as short as I can. So here's the Wizard of Oz, the beginning of them going to meet the wizard, and then I'll play like the concession part that comes in the next video, and I'll stop here and there and go with it.
And I believe my eyes. Why have you come back?
Please, sir, we've done what you told us. We brought you the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West. We melted her.
Ah, you liquidated her, eh? Very resourceful.
Yes, sir.
So this is the artificial bad guy that's put out there. The wizard is obviously pulling the strings. He's connected to this family. He's one of the biggest ones out there. He's manipulating all this shit. But if they have a villain out there, you won't see the wizard for the villain that he is, or it is. So they have to have these, like Donald Trump as the bad guy. He's like the Wicked Witch of the West, and and the wizard told the Dorothy and all her little squad to go out there and take care of her, which you could go into the whole divine feminine thing and the whole patriarchal program if you want. I don't want to go there too much right now. People who watch this channel already know about that shit. But anyway, the point is the wizard is the one calling the shots and making them go do these things. So they have to go kill somebody. You can take this to the whole Hollywood sacrifice shit too, but they had to go kill somebody in order to do whatever it is that they're doing, and they come back and they think they've done something good because they think they're dealing with a benevolent wizard in Oz, but they're getting ready to find out what's going on. Fucked up thing is, because you know this is mind control, fucked up thing is they're not even going to question that. They're going to get angry, which is the pressure relief valve, like I said in previous videos. They're going to get angry, which is what YouTube is, and they play all this, and the late night talk shows, that's what it is. Watch when you see it right now. You'll see them get angry when Toto pulls the veil from the wizard, and you'll see how his slick forked tongue, just kind of takes everything, all the anger that they were talking about, and just channels it into another distraction to pay them off with concessions and never really deal with the issue, which was the lie to begin with. And they're gonna fall for it. So like I said, keep in mind the whole villain enemy thing. Keep in mind Trump and all the politics. The blue versus red. If there was a Democrat in office right now, they'd be talking shit about the Republicans or the Democrats. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of what is entertaining. So what will sell another mind control program? Trump is easy to sell. He is easily a representation of the old mindset, which is not old, it's still very new, but he is consciously engaged in that's why the whole Make America Great Again thing is there. It's on purpose. It's not a mistake. It didn't just come out of thin air. There's no mistake that he's connected to the right-wing whatevers that are out there. He is meant to maintain that mentality as being valid in society in reference to the idea of modern society being the evolutionary peak of humanity and the older people being primitive, like the indigenous people being primitive. And I think he goes into saying something like that in a second, as far as like the primitive nature. Maybe I'm thinking of no, that was another video in which I'll play it again, but in another video. But there was a video that I was watching just recently that was talking about what was it? Primitive. They said something about. Anyway, I'll think of it later. But I'll continue playing this so you can see what's going on with the Wiz.
So we'd like you to keep your promise to us, if you please, sir.
Not.
Another thing is the whole power thing. You see how she's speaking, how the whole journey was about going to this wizard who seems to have all this power, which makes them what? Powerless. So the same thing's happening with the people. And the power lies in what? The material goods or their desires, wants, and needs, their little bullshit, which in fact goes back to the point of their character, which they already had everything that they were asking for.
So fast! Not so fast! I'll have to give the matter a little thought. Go away and...
They had everything they had except for Dorothy. Dorothy just wants to get home, and she has the ability to get back home. She's been wearing it on her feet the whole time. Point being is that they use her character, and the people of that world already have whatever it is that they have more of what they think they don't have than the people that are standing right next to them and the people around in this whole little shebang-a-bang. So Dorothy, you'll see, let me just keep playing.
Come back tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, but I want to go home now.
See, that's the thing again. That's the whole, what I've said in previous videos about manipulating time. Heliocentrism is a manipulation of your time. You manipulate time, you manipulate consciousness. You manipulate time through the consciousness of the people, then you can have control over them. So this is why space is always about, you know, the future. Let's put technology is always about like the future, and education, like what's the next discovery. It's always about the future because it's at the essence is this worshiping of the evolutionary peak of humanity. See, even the evolution theory is bigger than the so-called flat earth theory, because the evolution theory cuts directly to the lie. It cuts directly to the human story. You're not going to be distracted by all this flat versus globe shit that's out there. Once you start addressing all of these other theories that hold up the heliocentric theory, then you start more easily getting into the human story.
You've had plenty of time.
But like I said, keep in mind time. As long as you keep believing that they have any kind of power and that they're going to give a shit about you in any kind of way, then you will keep waiting for them to do something for you. No different than these potato show pushers, this mainstream flat earth pushers who are constantly focusing on the mainstream media and ignoring now. It's 3 years now. They don't give a fuck about the lie itself. They only give a shit about being recognized as the people who spoke about flat earth first. Why do you think there's such a big ass deal? Look at the whole little beef between, was it Matt Powerland and Eric Dubay and Mark Sargent's, like, who came out with flat earth first? That's a proof of you assholes missing the whole fucking point. And the people following them are doing the same shit. That's exactly what the system wants. It wants people to follow shallow people. It wants people, masses of people, to follow storylines that will keep them trapped and enslaved in a limited frame of consciousness. And they will use time to drag that shit out. They will promote every kind of storyline to distract you from the deeper cancers, the deeper storylines. They will use anything in their arsenal of distraction and mind control to keep you from asking the right questions. Because once you start asking the right questions, like Alex Jones doesn't want you to ask the right questions. He wants you to ask questions that are going to channel your energy back into the program. No different than what I'm saying is what these mainstream potato head flat earthers are doing with flat earth. They're going to channel it right back into the program and just wait for the concessions of the system and just be completely hopeless and say, oh, well, that's it. We did it and there's nothing else we can do. You already know you're going to have a mass of people who are going to be enslaved. So why aren't you working on that right now? No, the very reason why you're not working about the future slaves is because you want to protect your little entertainment bubble. This is why people like Zionism, and I'm not saying like they have to do this, but what I'm saying is that this is why none of their stories ever fucking change. They keep playing that same broken ass record, avoiding shit because largely they don't want to lose their following. I lose subscribers all the time. I know it's because some of the reasons why, just like on Instagram, is because some of the things that I post, but also there's a very systematic subscriber adjustment that's going on when you upload videos. Subscribers go down. I've actually seen view counts go backwards. So there's a systematic attack on information that's out there that keeps the masses at bay and distracted by the trending page. So if you can understand that subscribers are being moved from people who, period, subscribers and view counts are being removed, that should be enough to investigate or think twice about anything. Not only is that happening to attack the people who are sharing relevant information, but the counter to that, the other side of that, is you have garbage ass information that's being promoted by the system itself. This is what the trending page is. And it was very complex how they had Shane and whoever else that the lady was with him who was talking about this. They made some really good points, but overall they missed the whole fucking point in order to protect their own little personal bullshit.
Already? Yeah. Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz.
So when you bring up the fact that they don't do shit, the system doesn't do shit, what does it do? It gets louder, it tells you to shut the fuck up, and wants to flex its muscles so you don't ask any more questions. You just deal with what you got.
I said come back tomorrow.
constantly coming back tomorrow. Every day you wake up in the morning and you don't address the cancer itself, you are coming back tomorrow, thinking about having something, hoping for a different outcome. It's insanity.
Really great and powerful. You keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh, wait.
So there's the machine. You can say that Toto represents nature pulling the veil out eventually, whatever it is you want to say. I'm just talking about the wizard himself and the machine that's being played and the voice and the tone and how what's being done is being done. Now look at the people who's supposed to represent you. Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion. That's supposed to represent the people. Now look at the mind control of what happens when they face the power. They even remove the fucking veil. They found out how much of a big ass criminal he is. Now look at what happens in the rest of the movie when that happens, because that's going to happen to you.
Pay attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
You are? I
Yes.
don't believe you.
No, I'm afraid it's true. There's no other wizard except me. You humbug! Yes, it's exactly so. I'm a humbug.
Now he goes into the victim. Oh yeah, I'm just this, and exactly what the system does all the time. We can only do so much. We've given you so much. After they done bombed the whole fucking world, stole all this land, poisoned all the food, poisoned all the water, poisoned the sky, destroyed everything, all the rainforests, and it just everything has been destroyed. Now they play the fucking victim. In order to do what? To maintain the illusion.
You're a very bad man.
Oh, no, my dear. I'm a very good man. I'm just a very bad wizard.
Oh. He's a very good man, just a very bad wizard. Oh, goodness.
Oh, no, my dear. I'm a very good man. I'm just a very bad wizard.
I'm gonna speed this.
What about the heart that you promised Tin Man and the courage that you promised Cowardly Lion?
I'm Scarecrow's brain.
Why, anybody can have a brain.
What about the stuff you promised us? What about all the Make America Great Again stuff? What about all this and free healthcare and this and that and all? What about all that stuff, huh? What about flying cars? What about this? Constantly asking your slave masters for what? A deeper enslavement. This is what transhumanism is. This is why you have assholes like Joe Rogan pushing transhumanism and simulation theory. He's got a hard-on for that. He even got called out, like I said in that last video, by Dennis McKenna about how much he's literally pushing it. And it's not just that video, it's a lot of other videos. They gotta push their own agenda.
It's a very mediocre commodity. Every pusillanimous creature that crawls on the earth or slinks through slimy seas has a brain. Back where I come from, we have universities, seats of great learning, where men go to become great thinkers. And when
Let me say that. Let me break that down real quick. He just said that everybody has a brain, even little slugs and nothing like little garbage. The natural brain doesn't matter. This is to promote the idea of primitive and savage, animalistic, indigenous people so that you can worship the university system. That is a better example than the video I was going to use before. He literally just said that any of the intellect that you have just from your regular primitive ass brain doesn't matter. You need a degree. You need what I can give you.
they come out, they think deep thoughts, and with no more brains than you have. But they have one thing you haven't got, a diploma. Therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Universitatis Comitiatum e Pluribus Unum, I hereby confer upon you the honorary degree of THD. THD? That's Doctor of Thinkology.
There's your free health care. The Tin Man's gonna get his heart. The cowardly lion's gonna get his courage. So they might, put some, people in power that aren't, you know what I'm saying. Just keep this in mind. Personalize this to the masses of people, and then watch it from that perspective. Like I said, this is about how and why is going on. What and who is the bullshit. That's the distraction. It's a whole different consciousness. People who just follow people like Beyonce or all these other activists that are placed out in front of you, they're just completely brain dead. They're zombies. They might even be aware of a lot of the shit. There's some people that are aware of all the shit about Beyonce, like some of the deep dark shits about her and Jay-Z, and they don't even give a fuck because they don't know how to give a fuck. They don't know. They have no frame of reference in reference to the demonic energy and intelligence that is running rampant within the system. So they can be aware of the most demonic shit and still just be like, oh, okay, well, that's just a thing. And they'll either compensate for that by saying, oh, well, that's just conspiracy theory, or that's this or that's that, or maybe that's none of my business. That they can do whatever they want behind the scenes. Whatever it is, the point is, these people are going to follow people. So people who are not following people anymore, their next choice for consciousness is to figure out what is going on. So they start asking questions about their reality and what's going on. This is where you have the prepositioned people like Alex Jones, TYT, Russell Brand, conspiracy theorists, social media. That is designed to tell you so-called what's going on. And you're still not thinking for yourself. You might as well just be following another who. Social media is a who. Hollywood is a who. Mainstream media is a who. InfoWars, that's a who. Consciousness, TYT. These are who consciousnesses still. You're still not getting into what's going on because you're limited to the who consciousness of the people telling you what's going on. You're in the same fucking bubble. You won't figure out what's going on until you break the codes of all the people that are around you in these mainstream bullshit bubbles, and even people outside of these mainstream bubbles, like the Potato Crew. You won't know what's going on until you start researching it on your own. That's actually the biggest reason why I got off Facebook in 2014, because I was constantly being bombarded by what was going on from all these people around me, and I was like, this shit is slow. I need to get out and be speaking from my own perspective and researching from my own perspective without being influenced by this bullshit. So, I mean, we're constantly influenced by it every day or wherever, but Facebook is a different thing. It's more personal. It gets into your sort of like your ideas of perceiving this reality, because it's connected. Like I said, it personalized with the YouTubers personalizing information. Well, Facebook does the same thing by personalizing information directly to you. And until, like, it's not like you have to be off Facebook to do that. I just did it because I knew how much of effect it had on my body, my mind, and my ability to like go into the deep depths of questioning this reality, because everything is prepackaged on social media.
Sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side. Oh, George, I've got a brain. How can I ever thank you enough?
Well, you can't. As for you, my fine friend...
You see that, how slick that was. He gave him his degree. Now he's all smart, and he says, how can I ever thank you? Shut the fuck up, bitch. You can't. I'm the top dog around here. I got all the intelligence. You just go to work like I told you. I need you to get smarter so you can go to work. Shut the fuck up, Scarecrow. I gave you your little punk ass. He didn't give him a brain. He gave him a piece of paper and told him he had a better brain. And what did the Scarecrow do? He lopped it up. He loves that shit. And then he was kicked to the curb.
You're a victim of disorganized thinking. You are under the unfortunate delusion that simply because you run away from danger, you have no courage. You're confusing courage with wisdom. Back where I come from, we have men who are called...
There it is. That is desens or dumbing down and disarming of the people by saying, oh, don't go towards danger to stop the danger, run away from danger. He was saying that's just the way you're supposed to be. Don't even conceptualize or have any kind of feelings about danger. You just run. Now that you have smarts and you don't need courage, how about I just give you a medal?
Once a year, they take their fortitude out of mothballs and parade it down the main street of the city. And they have no more courage than you have. But they have one thing that you haven't got, a medal. Therefore, for meritorious conduct, extraordinary valor, conspicuous bravery against wicked witches, I award you the Triple Cross. You are now a member of the Legion of Courage.
Shucks, folks, I'm speechless.
So there it goes. This is the materialistic bullshit that the system is giving to you. So we get distracted by thinking, getting caught up in like, oh, well, the Tin Man represents this, and the Scarecrow represents this, and this represents this, and that represents this. We never go into the how and the why of the mind control itself. People have been bought off. The lion wanted a fucking heart. He got a medal and got convinced by the wizard that medal is better than actually facing danger. The Scarecrow asked for a brain. He told him his brain is animalistic and it doesn't really matter, and now he just needs a university system diploma. And then that's going to make him smart.
You, my galvanized friend, you want a heart. You don't know how lucky you are not to have one.
Let me say, because it was real quick and I sped it up too. There is no heart in this system. They are telling you what the fuck they are. They have no heart. They have no soul. A parasite doesn't give a fuck about its host. They don't have a heart to give a fuck. They don't know how to give a fuck. This is why he said you're asking for a heart. You don't know how lucky you are to not have one. Because that's like them.
Hearts will never be practical until they can be made unbreakable.
That's it. That's the fear. Do not even fear death, fear life. Do not even go into love because it's unknowable. And if you go into love, you might lose it. So just remain dead for the rest of your life. Don't question your reality for the rest of your life. Don't feel for the rest of your life. Be like the wizard, and you will be stable in their world.
But I still want one. Back where I come from,
there's the humanity there. He doesn't give a fuck about the side effects about having a heart. He's representing the humanity. That's what he's saying. Like, I don't give a fuck. I still want one. That's like the childlike mentality of, I don't want to be a part of your world. I just want to feel again. The actual Wiz, I'll probably do a follow-up to this with the Wiz, with the actual movie The Wiz, with Richard Pryor and go through that whole scenario. But for this one, I'm already up there in time. I'll get through this one real quick.
Men who do nothing all day but good deeds. They are called good deed do.
See, he doesn't even know the word for philanthropists, for people who do good deeds, because he's not a good deed doer. He doesn't give a fuck about good deeds. He gives a fuck about distracting you and remaining in power. That's why there was a hesitation. And he can't even say the word philanthropy because the wizard is the one with all the resources behind the veil. He represents the individual with the resources behind the veil. So he can't even voice the word philanthropy because that would mean acknowledging people who don't have shit while he has everything, or the system has everything. That's why there was a hesitation there. So now what is he going to give the Scarecrow?
And their hearts are no bigger than yours. But they have one thing you haven't got, a testimonial. Therefore, in consideration of your kindness, I take pleasure at this time in presenting you with a small token of our esteem and affection. And remember, my sentimental friend, that a heart is not judged by how much you love, but by how much you are loved.
By others, that's what he's going to say. You see that clock, that heart, though? It's a clock. He basically gave him life. He was dead because he would live forever without a heart, which is like they do, or these disembodied entities. They live through people, parasites. Right now you can see the Tin Man is empty, and he's easily influenced. They represent, like I said, galvanized. This is the industry, the whole industrial sort of, there's no heart there. It's all about money. And it's this guy, the wizard, relates very closely to the Tin Man. So even more so than the other ones, more connection in that whole. You can see how it's very similar. These guys are like buddy.
Oh, it ticks. Listen, look, it ticks.
See, he gave him life. But if he gave him life, what does that represent? He represents God. And what is that God? That God gave him life based upon a time. Your time is going to run out, and that entity is the one that gave it to you. So this is the way the subconscious is being programmed, of the masses is being programmed to think of the system as God, to think of the system as the king, to think of the system as the provider. This was the original mind control program of the Wizard of Oz. It wasn't to share information. No, this is just like Hollywood movies appear to be disclosing information to people. No, this shit is way more complex. This shit ain't checkers. This is chess, and it's not even one-tiered chess. It's a 3-tiered chess for your soul, your mind, and your body. This system is way more complex than you think it is, or even conspiracy theorists supposedly think it is. So these are the main intents of the Wizard of Oz and Hollywood overall. See what else is on. Oh, yeah.
Read what my medal says. Courage. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth?
Oh, they're all wonderful.
Hey, what about Dorothy?
Yes, how about Dorothy?
Yeah,
Dorothy next.
Yeah, Dorothy,
Oh, I don't think there's anything in that black bag for me.
well, you forced me into a cataclysmic decision. The only way to get Dorothy back to Kansas is for me to take her there myself.
So this is where I take it a step even further, and I'm saying the bridging of these worlds. This is a disembodied entity. The wizard represents a disembodied entity. It's not about these little puppets that are, running around like President Trump and President Obama and all these. Those are just fucking puppets out there. They are being manipulated behind the scenes. So now, with this transhumanism shit, is it starting to make sense now about bridging or opening up doorways and all that other shit, which is another storyline that's being put out there with CERN and all that other stuff. Point being is that be outside of all the boogeyman shit, interdimensional boogeyman shit. Point being is that the humanity of Dorothy just wanting to go back home, he's gonna hitch a ride with her. So this parasitic piece of shit, who has now been revealed for what he is in his world, is now gonna go back to her world and do what?
Oh, will you? Could you? Oh, but are you a clever enough wizard to manage it?
Child, you cut me to the quick. I'm an old Kansas man myself, born and bred in the heart of the western wilderness. Premier balloonist par excellence to the Miracle Wonderland Carnival Company, until one day, while performing spectacular feats of stratospheric skill never before attempted by civilized man, an unfortunate phenomena occurred. The balloon failed to return to the fair.
It did?
Weren't you frightened?
Frightened?
So this is the whole mentality of he had to build himself up. This is where Make America Great Again comes in, talking about how great it is. Western civilization has to build. Look how much we've done before. I'm so professional. I've done it. Blah, 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 blah. University system. Blah, 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 blah. So not even anything that you discover about how fucked up this individual is, you'll be distracted by all of it because they've vested their own livelihood or their work in your thing, so or whatever you are asking for, so you think it's real.
You are talking to a man who has laughed in the face of death, sneered at doom, and chuckled at catastrophe. I was petrified. Then suddenly the wind changed, and the balloon floated down into the heart of this noble city, where I was instantly acclaimed Oz, the first wizard deluxe. Times being what they were, I accepted the job, retaining my balloon against...
So, if you want to jump off the last story, you can see that as going from one dimension to another, slowly parasiting and controlling and manipulating the people that you come from into the next world and the next dimension and the next whatever frame of consciousness, whatever you want to call it, this individual, which could easily represent colonialism or the consciousness of control and dominance and mind control overall, the storyline's laid out. That's pretty much what I wanted to share with this. So there's so many different ways to decipher the Wizard of Oz. This one is the only one that I see is really relevant, because the other ones are like talking about who and what. Like, you can talk about the bankers, you can talk about the farmers, the industry, the bankers, or all that. So you can talk about all that stuff, but you're still talking from a disempowered perspective. You're still talking from a space that, you know, is caught up in the shit instead of addressing the story for what it is behind the scenes, the how and the why consciousness. So I'll leave it there. I just wanted to kind of burn through the Wizard of Oz ending scene sort of observation and connected to our modern interpretation of what's going on and all this other stuff. So I'll leave it there. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.